Hello, I'm Greg Retke of Retke Mods, and welcome to episode 7 of season 3 of my PowerPC series. Today's episode's going to be, I don't know if it's going to be a long video, but it's going to be a very informative video of how to address the issue I've been having with my clamshell since day one. I own, let's see here, at least 4 clamshells now, and a box full of parts to build another one if I needed to, or would like to, other than the fact I don't have screws for it. But anyway, and I have probably 7 or 8 clamshell batteries. The same common problem with all of them, though, is they're all dead, and they're all very, very dead. So in today's video, I'll be showing you how to replace the cells inside the battery, because right now we're plugged in. If I unplug it, it shuts off. That thing's been plugged in for over an hour now. Yeah. So today's candidate will be this battery right here. Okay. We're going to be replacing these cells in it with these updated, newer versions of the same cell. They're Sony cells. They're good quality cells. Now on eBay and stuff like that, you could go and find a cheap Chinese battery or something to replace it. It might work, but they could be unsafe, and they won't hold the charge that they advertise of holding. If you go with a brand name, they're going to cost more, but they'll last longer, and they probably won't blow up. So yeah, go with brand name. We've got 8 cells, and we're going to be taking this whole battery apart. And if you're following this tutorial for a clamshell, just let you know, basically all PowerBook batteries, as far as I know, are built basically the same way, and they just look different laid out wise. And the only thing you need to do is take pictures as you're taking it apart and stuff, and you can just follow along. Now the last aluminum PowerBooks, and they may have used pillow cells, I can't quite remember. I've never taken one of those batteries apart, but most PowerBooks, all iBook should have these cells in them, and they're what are they? They are 18650s, and any 18650 will work. They even use these for vapes, so if you need to find a good quality one, even a vape store would have them. But still, today's episode will be taking this thing apart and going step by step, so let's get going. Okay, so first off, how you want to open a clamshell battery. Now this is different for every PowerBook or iBook battery, but for a clamshell battery, these are usually just held together by friction, believe it or not. Some are glued together, some are sonic welded, you know, some are screwed together. But with a clamshell, it's basically just friction. So what you want to do is take like a razor blade, and you want to shove it into the seam right here and just push downwards into the seam, and then just bend upwards a little bit, and the case will start pulling apart, and then you can literally just start pulling it apart and it will pop off like that. Now of course I've already done that, but that just gives you an idea. Very easy to do, and you aren't going to mar up the battery. You don't want to do it on this side, because this is where the ribbon cable is for power and stuff, and also where the control board is. You don't want to damage that. So after all that, as you're doing this, you'll want to take pictures to figure out how everything was laid out. But since I have 1,000 of these things, I'm going to be using this one as a reference because, well, it's the same battery. So yeah. Anyway, what you're going to want to do next for this type of battery is figure out how the cells are sitting in there and just slowly start pulling them out. And they should all be linked together. And I've actually loosened this already, so they should just fall out, but they won't just fall out usually. So yeah, you flip that over, the battery comes out as a whole unit like that, and that's the assembly here. Now what you need is to pull these apart, and these should all be sonic welded together. So what you want to do is first remove the battery controls like this, and then continue from there. We're going to have to unsolder these connectors, and it's going to get a little complicated. So I'm going to learn how this battery's put together before I start breaking things. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I've looked the whole battery over, and it's going to get a little challenging for me, because when it comes to these batteries here, you do not want to be soldering straight to the cell. I mean, you can, if you have a hot enough soldering iron and you quickly can touch the solder to it, you probably won't blow these up, but you can blow them up, and they will blow up, and it is not pretty. You don't want to be anywhere near one of these when they blow. So I'd recommend getting the tabs already welded onto them. And these tabs are actually going to be a challenge to solder together and make it fit in this. Basically, I'm going to have to unsolder in multiple points. So unsolder here, and then unsolder there, and then there, and all this stuff. I've already taken the I think this is a heat sensor off right here, and pulled that up. And there is a solder point under the controller board, which I've already moved downwards here, that I'll have to undo. And we'll probably have to actually get some wire to redo this, because I don't think these tabs will work. So it's going to be a little challenge for me. But first I'm going to disassemble this, and then we're going to start putting the cells together. Now when you're doing this, you may want to do a diagram of how the batteries are laid out. Draw out like the parallels of how it is and stuff. That might help you along when you're putting it back together. Second set of batteries. Okay, so all these batteries are linked together, and we need to put them in the same parallel that they're in right now on these. I kind of want to get the battery spacers out of this. This one's apparently missing it. That's weird. But anyway, I want to get these battery spacers out, so I'm going to have to pull apart the batteries. I'll have to get something to cut them apart with. Might be able to pull them apart myself. Let's see. So far that's a no. Ow! That hurt. And spacer. Got the battery spacers out. And now I need to get these batteries together. So I am going to use the other battery as a reference and figure this out. This one appears to have a little more glue in it. That should help me start the process. Well, anyway, you get the idea. Yeah, this is going to be complicated for me to do. And very embarrassing, so I'll do this off camera. Sorry, guys. Well, I got the first group of cells together. Yeah. Okay, so far I've gotten 4 of the cells back on the thing here. I'd recommend doing each cell set together first, make those, and then solder them in. I had to do some custom tab work and stuff. It's been a headache. This would have been like a 3 or 4 hour long video just in time lapse alone. It's not taking me that long, but it's frustrating. Anyway, so I'll be back with the final update. Alright, so I think I got it all hooked up properly. I'll set it back in the base and see if it all lines up and stays together. Well, I wanted it to get back into the case. It sort of fits into the case. We're going to see if it closes up. Try and get this stuff out of the way. I hope I didn't break any of the connections. We will find out. Well, the case is very warped, but I think it will fit into the iBook. I hope. We're going to find out. Okay, so let's see if it fits in here. I might have to work on it more. Okay, so after a little finagling, I did get the battery in. It's a little warped, and I don't know if it's really sitting in there properly. Let's get the door and see if it goes on. Just can't get it to turn. It's interesting. Okay, so with a little more play, I did get it on. Let's plug it in and see what happens. Okay, so here's the moment of truth. Man, I hope this thing doesn't blow up. Well, yeah, it turned orange. I don't smell anything, I don't hear anything. Let's see what happens. It is showing that it's starting to charge. It is at 0% right now. Okay, this cycle count and all this stuff, I'm going to have to let this charge up for a while, see what happens. Hopefully it will start holding a charge. Otherwise I didn't hook it up right. So we shall see. Okay, I thought I'd try something right before I let it charge, and I did apparently hook it up. Hey, 1%! Hey, I think I did it right. That is really hard to believe. But watch this. It stays on. And that is literally the first clamshell battery I've ever had that would even let me just unplug it. So that's a good sign. We'll let the system charge up, and we'll see what happens. Alright guys, so this thing's been charging for about an hour and a half, 2 hours or so, and the battery percentage jumped from 30% to 100, so it's fully charged. This will have to be calibrated more, but if we unplug it, it's unplugged, and we go to coconut battery, it will tell us what it originally had on the original battery left before the cells just died, and that will hopefully reset itself once it's calibrated a few times. We'll leave this system running for the rest of the video the way it is, but this system actually isn't the system I rebuilt the battery for. I rebuilt the battery for my G4 Clamshell. And I wanted to put it in this system first because I figured it would work. This one sometimes throws a few fits, and I don't know if the charge module on here actually works because, well, neither one I've actually tested because I've never had a working battery. But it's going into here, and the next video that I do on the system, it will have a fully functional battery in it. And that should be awesome. I have a lot of things planned for that. But anyway, so what's the conclusion we have here? First off, make sure you buy good batteries, good cells. The cheap Chinese ones may work if they don't catch on fire, but they won't hold the charge they advertise. So buy the good ones if you can. Also, you need to dispose of the old ones properly. You can't really just toss them in the trash, but still, yeah, the system, the battery seems to be working great. I'm really excited, really happy about this situation here, about this Mac or info. So yeah, it will be calibrated a lot more. But right now it is working. It is running off of its own battery, and I am very happy with that. I might just calibrate it in this, although it's going to be really loud because of the fan, but then I can just have the battery in it and have it all set up. But still, yeah, so oh yeah, the other part, the conclusion. Make sure that when you're putting the battery back together, you put it together where it's straight and flat. Otherwise, you'll get a huge, giant, warped battery like I have. The bottom of the case still doesn't quite fit right. And it's going to be a challenge to pull this battery out in one piece. But hey, the battery works. So anyway. That is the end of today's video, guys. Don't forget, guys, I do now have a Patreon. There will be a link at the end of the video and also in the description below. I'm also now sponsored by sellyourmac.com. If you have an Apple device you'd like to sell, just go to sellyourmac.com/rutkmods and check them out. You'll be making money, and I'll be getting a nice little kickback from the affiliate code, which is very awesome. It would help me out a lot. But anyway, so yeah, like I said before, that's the end of today's video, and thank you guys for watching. This has been a Rutke Mods video. Okay, bonus material, guys. I have now set up the G4 Clamshell with the battery. It's not plugged in. Let's just see if it turns on. That's a great sign. We'll let it boot up and see how it likes the battery. Well, that's one problem, but that the button doesn't work now. Yeah. Okay guys, so we're back for the bonus material again, and the system is running. As you can tell, we're plugged in now. I accidentally shorted the battery out with a screwdriver while trying to cram it back into the case. The battery case, not that case, otherwise we'd have more problems. Luckily, the battery seems to still be working. If I unplug it, it still stays on. But it did reset the charge on the system, so it is currently at 1% charge, and well, I've got to let it charge back up, or I don't know what's going on with it, but it reset itself again. And now the current capacity has gone down more, but I think once it is done with its cycling and calibrating, it should be fine. And I don't think I hurt the battery. It was just one heck of a spark. So yeah, guys, don't use a screwdriver to cram the battery back into the case. That was very stupid of me. Yeah, but everything seems to be fine now, and we should all be set. So anyway, thanks again for watching, guys. So one more quick update, guys. I did indeed fry the controller board on the battery. I was talking to Colin Mister, and the way I described everything, he's like, yep, you fried it. And so I swapped the controller board out of another battery into this system battery here. I even swapped out the case, and the battery fits in a lot better now. It's not quite as warped, and right now it is calibrating. It's been running non-stop for about 10 minutes, maybe a little bit longer than that, and it's draining perfectly, and everything looks good, so we're all set now.